Luke Maas, definitely not going to know what he's up against when he sees a turn 1 swamp. Probably imagining that he's against maybe like a zombie deck with a slow draw, or maybe a blue-black control deck, yeah.
So he plays sort of Feast and Famine on turn 2. That's a scary, scary thing to face.
Yeah, and against a green-black deck, that's probably it.
Yeah, that could be the game right there. So Rampant Growth from Peter.
And
Riggs.
yeah, then the bird is gonna pick up a sword and, you know.
Well, the good news for Peter is that sword only does 2 when it attacks.
Yeah.
Not like the Sword of War and Peace that had the bird attacking for 7 every turn.
It's true, but protection from green and black against a green-black deck is
It's still trouble. I'm just trying to find a silver lining.
Scary, scary situation
Does
to be in.
He has no sacrifice effects, no Liliana. He does have Massacre Worm.
All right, so let's see what Luke Maas has in store for us this turn. If he has a land, I think he can. The cavern is naming Wolf.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask. Was what the cavern name?
And this cavern is naming Spirit, maybe Human.
Well, either way, they help that bird pick up the sword, and Peter goes to 18.
Wolf or Silverheart the Spirit Wolf?
That's fine. That's because Wolfear Silverheart should go on this.
It is a warrior.
Warrior.
All right.
Do you know what the other cavern is? Are they both wolf? Spirit. Okay.
Spirit. Seems to make sense.
I really like the art on Wolfear Silverheart. It's really cool. Raymond Swan. All right, so Peter taps 4 here. There we go. Labeling the caverns. And Solemn Simulacrum would...
It's a pretty good one. It would be able to block a sorted creature. However, Birds of Paradise has flying. And this sword hitting, it's just so much. So hard to beat that. A little surprising that Luke Maas didn't decide to play Stranglergeist, I think. Does he have a Wolfear Avenger in his hand?
I
guess that's like the only reason why he wouldn't
have played
Disguise, right?
I can see he has Llanowar Elf.
I thought he had Stranglergeist. I mean, if he names Spirit, then he definitely does. So, okay, Wolfear Avenger. He did have it. Makes sense. Alright, so he can cast a pre-combat sword.
And there's Sword of War and Peace.
Yep, then he can attack with his bird and his Avenger.
So in for 5.
Yeah, I imagine Solemn Simulacrum is going to jump in front of the wolf.
Yeah, perfectly fine with that.
Oh, just 16. And Peter's going to have to discard a card again.
Trying to get the timing of this right, because the damage. Does he draw and then discard, or does he discard before he gets to draw?
Yeah, and
looks like he drew and then discarded. Couldn't quite see what he discarded.
Yeah, now Luke has a couple different options. If I'm Luke here, I think I just equip my sword onto my bird. Yeah, there you go. And then maybe cast a Llanowar Elves, for good measure. Nah, decides not to. That's fine. I mean, he's just playing around a Black Sun Zenith.
That is
just having that extra guy in your hand to equip the 2 swords to at any given moment. Pretty good.
All right, Peter taps everything. Here comes a Titan. Oh, Black Sun Zenith.
Black Sun Zenith for 4.
And that is that not enough? Is it for 4 or for 5?
For 4. So, I mean, the bird's going to stick around. But the bird is a 0-1.
It's going to be a 0-1, right.
So, it's even though it has the 2 swords on it, those 2 swords aren't going to do anything. Like,
right.
the bird will not be able to deal combat damage unless Luke Maas can, you know, find some way to remedy that problem. But this turn, Luke Maas can simply cast a Strangleroot Geist, move that Sword of Feast and Famine onto the Strangleroot Geist, and yeah, his bird will die, but he'll keep on hitting Peter with, you know, just tons and tons of damage.
Looks like that's what's happening here. Yeah, so there's Strangleroot Geist, and this is going to be brutal. Oh no, he just attacks. That's interesting.
Okay. Yeah. So
yeah, it does no damage.
It does no damage.
It did nothing. Yeah.
So Luke missed out on 2 damage and making Peter discard a card, which is a pretty big deal here.
Yeah. Or even more than 2 damage if he wanted to move the Warren piece.
Yeah, because he could have been able to move that also, because the Feast of Famine would have untapped his lands. So it would have been huge. Yeah. So. And next turn he can still equip the Strangler Geist with both things, but he's
he just missed out on kind of an opportunity there. So Massacre Worm.
Strangler Geist comes back.
Yeah. Strangleroot Geist comes back, undying. Here we go. There we go. They got it. It's not Elish Norn. And not even if it was Elish Norn, it would come back. It would just be small.
And Feast and Famine will get on the Strangleroot Geist.
Peter played a Cavern of Souls naming Worm, by the way. Alright, so Strangleroot Geist picks up a sword.
Yeah, getting in for 5. Peter going to fall down to 9 here, and he has to discard a card again. And I mean, it could have been much worse for him. He could have been at 7 right now, and could have, instead of taking, he would have taken, no, he would have taken way more than that, because it would have been 5 plus how many cards are in his hand? 2, 1. So yeah, Peter would be at 4, and both those swords would have been equipped before Luke even had to.
Well, I don't think he wouldn't have had enough to. He couldn't equip both swords.
Last turn, yeah, he would have been able to, because when he hit with Feast and Famine, it would have untapped his lands.
Right, but he could have equipped the sword after combat though, so you can't factor in sort of War and Peace.
Well, because the War and Peace would have hit for damage this turn also. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you're saying. For this turn. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, so Massacre Worm getting in there. Luke's fine with that. He'll just go to 10. I mean, he is winning a race right now, this double-sworded Strangleroot Geist.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because the Strangleroot Geist wouldn't have died from the Massacre Worm, right? All right. Copperline Gorge.
Yep.
From Luke.
Now, there's a few different options here. I think you probably just red zone both your guys. Not really much of a reason not to.
Yeah, I mean, unless he's Inkmoth Nexus, but that's not really.
You gotta be happy it might trade one of his Inkmoths for the Llanowar Elves, because, I mean, at this point you've got.
Well, at this point, I'd be thinking he's trading. He wants to use those Inkmoth Nexuses for the Strangleroot Geist, which is more reason to attack with the elf.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think we were both on the same page there.
All right, so Inkmoth getting activated, gonna chump block here. And now Strangleroot Geist can come back again.
Yeah, that is such a crazy interaction. Like, you mean I made it better by giving it a -1/-1 counter?
I have a question. If a Cavern of Souls is naming Wolf, can you use it to cast a Werewolf?
Well, like something that's creature werewolf, like I would think no, since that's technically a different creature type.
Is that different though?
But I'm gonna do a card.
I know there are
search
things
here.
like elves and elf are both the same.
Right, but I think they've all been sort of eroded to.
Say one type of thing or another.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. All right, Peter Riggs with another big play this turn, it looks like.
Yeah, I would assume that that's technically a different. So, like, you couldn't cast Afflicted Deserter with a cavern naming Wolf, because it's technically another creature type.
Yep, so Luke gonna fold a 6 here because the Massacre Worm's trigger.
If you're willing to come up to the stage, Jamie O'Sullivan, can you come up to the stage, please?
Daybreak Ranger, another example. Werewolf, not wolf, so you'd have to actually have one naming werewolf.
Yeah, now, you know, not moving those swords around that one turn, it looks like that's going to cost Luke this game.
That's pretty unbelievable, just considering where things
Hey, when you
were
have the
just a
turn
couple
2
minutes
Sword
ago.
of Feast and Famine against the green-black deck, you're usually feeling pretty good.
Oh, Luke draws for the turn. I believe it was a green card, I'm pretty sure. I think it may have been Wolfie Avenger, maybe?
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, he just equips both things onto the Strangler guys before he casts anything else, and then attacks. Or, oh, well, his opponent has 2 mana open with an Ink Moth. That just makes it way more difficult, doesn't it?
So he just equips the Sword of Feast and Famine.
Seems fine. This opponent's gonna, yeah, so he's got a Galvanic Blast for that Ink Moth before his opponent can block.
Very nice play there.
Yeah, pretty good. Peter Riggs falls to 4 then. And he's gonna have to discard. He has nothing in his hand, so he cannot discard.
And Huntmaster of the Fells comes down for Luke.
Yeah, putting Luke up to 5 here. Now it looks like Luke may have a
Taking
chance
the
to
game
win
back,
this game.
yeah.
I mean, there are a few things that can happen that would change that. A Black Sun Zenith would still win the game for Peter. Another Massacre Worm.
He did just tick up the Ratchet Bomb, right? He tapped it. He didn't look like he put a counter on it. Didn't it already have 2 on it, or did
No,
it
I
just
thought
have
it
one?
had 1. It had
Okay.
1. So yeah, Peter Riggs. Peter Riggs can attack here with the Massacre Worm.
Mm-hmm.
And then Luke has to block. He's got to get his opponent to mess up now. So Peter has to just figure out a way to make Luke mess up. What I would do is I'd attack with Massacre Worm. Oh
He's
no, at least
scooping it
try. Try.
Yeah, I mean,
He can
don't-
always mess up.
That was too tight of a game to just give up there. I mean,
Yeah, your
make
opponent made a
make it
couple
happen.
mistakes earlier too. Because it's not the easiest thing for your opponent to understand, like how the Massacre Worm is going to deal him damage.
Right.
Like it's whenever a guy on your opponent's side dies, you get to deal him 2.
Yeah.
And then he's at 5, so if you attack, maybe thinking to himself, oh well, you know, if I block, then it just creates a weird situation.
Right. Right. You gotta give your opponent
give him
an
a chance
opportunity
to lose.
to accidentally do something wrong. You don't just go, oh yeah, I can see how he just wins. I'll scoop up. Like he might not see how he just wins. I've had that happen. You know, in like playtesting sessions, I feel like I remember things where like my opponent would start scooping things up, and or would say something like, you know, oh you just win, and I'm like, wait, how?
Yeah.
Will you do this and this and that? Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
Whoops. Thanks for scooping.
And stuff like that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta just stick it out.
Yeah, especially when you're interacting with cards you might not be used to interacting with. Massacre Worm's been around for a while, but people haven't been. It's not like ubiquitous like a lot of cards, like even Grave Titan. You know, most of the time you see a Massacre Worm and it kind of ends the game as soon as it hits the board.
Yeah, Massacre Worm can do that.
Taking a look at the sideboards here.
So in these sideboards right now, Luke Maas has access to Mimic Vat, pretty good one. An extra sort of Feast and Famine is going to be especially good here. Zealous Conscripts is insane in this matchup. He's definitely going to want to bring those in. So I think his big cards here are sort of Feast and Famine and Zealous Conscripts. We may see a one Mimic Vat, but I don't know. That's kind of a rarity. He's probably taking out his Galvanic Blast. They're not very good here.
Help them deal with one Ink Moth Nexus. That was about it.
Yeah, it helps him at the stage of the game where he's usually losing if he's in that stage of the game.
Yeah.
And he happened to win that one despite getting to that stage of the game, but in post-sported games, I think he'd rather, if he had instead had a Zealous Conscripts instead of a Galvanic Blast, it would have just outright won him the game very easily. So
I think for Peter, enemy number one is sort of Feast and Famine, and number two may be sort of War and Peace, to get rid of those swords or somehow being able to deal with them. So he's got an Acidic Slime. He's got one in the main, another one in the board. He's got two Phyrexian Metamorphs to kind of put on that same kind of pressure himself. He's got another Ratchet Bomb and a two Naturalize. Yeah, another Ratchet Bomb.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to sideboard in one Wormcoil Engine, one Grave Titan, two Naturalize, and he might side in the Slime. I don't know, though. I don't think you side in an extra one in this matchup.
No.
And the Metamorphs, I'm really not sure about. I don't think you can side in the Metamorphs here, I think. But I don't know. Maybe you do, because you have the Glissa plan.
How good is it when you go, Massacre Worm and follow it up with another Massacre Worm in the form of a Metamorph?
Yeah. No, obviously, that's insane.
I know. I'm saying, but how good would that have been last game, where he, he seems like he can get to the big guys, and if he can get two of them, it seems really good. And of course, his opponent has some interesting stuff there too, in the form of swords mainly. That he would probably be happy to want to have a Sword of War and Peace or something if his opponent has that. The Sword of War and Peace is much better for him against Luke than it is for Luke against Peter. I mean, Luke may decide to make room by cutting Sword of War and Peace, but who knows?
I don't know if he'll cut Sword of War and Peace.
I wouldn't think so either, but I mean, if he does not,
or maybe on the draw,
then Peter has the opportunity to copy it with a Metamorph, and that's actually pretty good, because just the pro red could matter, and the lifelink. Well, faux lifelink.
Luke Maas has to mulligan a hand that could have been very, very, very good had he had one more land, but it was a one-lander with no one-mana accelerant. But he did have Sword of Feast and Famine and Zealous Conscripts in his opener. Two really good ones, yeah. Again, Zealous Conscripts here. Zealous Conscripts could just easily win a game. Yesterday when I got in, the Ghostbusters movie was on TV.
So that's why he brought up Spangler.
Yeah, that's why we were talking about it.
And is that why Adrian put his Ghostbusters shirt on last night?
Yeah, that's also why. This when Adrian came to get us from the hotel before you had gotten there.
Yeah.
We were waiting for you, and in Ghostbusters ended 4 minutes before you got there, and Silence of the Lambs was just starting. All right, Luke Maas, 6 cards. 4-lantern, not a great hand, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Is this... I think it's gotta be keepable.
I can't quite see what the non-lands are. Well, guess we're gonna find out.
Oh, and he finds Phyrexian Metamorph.
Yeah.
And turn 1 Copperline Gorge.
Rampant growth from Peter.
Peter beyond the play makes this match pretty bad for Luke, I think. I think Peter's deck is actually, despite the Feast and Famines and all of that on Luke's side of the... Peter's deck is so well set up for this type of metagame.
Yeah.
The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking that Peter just made an awesome call playing this deck.
I was just looking at this match and I felt like before we saw game 1, I thought Peter had the edge.
I mean, the fact that his opponent had a turn 2 Sword of Feast and Famine and he almost won.
Yeah.
Kind of insane. Yeah, I'm playing my green-black deck. My opponent guessed turn 2 Sword of Feast and Famine. He was like 1 mistake away from losing.
Yeah. So, Luke plays Forest. Looks like he is passing back. So Peter untaps 3 lands. Plays a 4th. Solemn Simulacrum.
The old art. Jens Thorin.
Much better than
Jens
the
Thorin.
In my opinion. Sad robot.
As far as invitational winners go, earlier today we saw Bob Mopper.
Yep.
Roaming the event hall.
He was around.
Not
he was around
playing today.
Just before this match, he was hovering around a little bit.
I think he watched Brian Cowell punted last round. Put himself at X2.
3 mana for a Metamorph from Luke, and
That's
he's
a
gonna
pretty
have,
sweet Metamorph. Phyrexian Metamorph's so good.
Yes, it is. So Metamorph
Look at
copy
that.
Simulacrum for Luke.
Oh man, and Solemn Simulacrum is always a 3-for-1. Peter Riggs sending a Solemn Simulacrum in the red zone. Luke will gladly take that damage. But I think that that means that Peter's got a 6 in his hand. Or maybe it doesn't.
No, paid 2, played a off-screen special. Can we figure out what he played?
Yeah, let's try to come up with ideas of what he might have played right now.
For 2 mana,
He played a Sylvan Library.
He suspended a Strangleroot Geist.
Yes, he suspended a Strangleroot Geist, perhaps. A Pendelhaven.
He played
Elder.
a card off
I was
screen. We
hoping
can't
that-
see what it is. It's under his name.
Under Peter
Riggs'
Riggs' name, yes. Ooh, and a Green Sun Zenith for 4 from Luke Maas. I wonder what that's going to grab. It's probably going to be Huntmaster of the Fells.
It is Sphere of the Suns.
All right, Sphere of the Suns. Huntmaster of the Fells coming down, making a wolf token, and putting Luke back up to 18. Peter Riggs still looks to be in pretty solid control of this game just because, you know, he has top deck potential. If he ever draws a 6-drop, he just wins. That's one of the things that's so good about a deck like his.
Yeah, and that's what I think gives him the edge. He can just go
I think
so
he has a
much
Massacre
bigger.
Worm in his hand because he didn't have triple black last turn.
Legacy Challenge registration is open.
So Huntmaster of the Fells may have not been the best Green Sun target.
At least the 2 life that the wolf provided, the Huntmaster provided, kind of cancels out the 2 life he's going to lose because.
Well, no,
because of
this
it,
is an extra 2 from the wolf advantage.
That's what I'm saying. Like, at least there's some of that 2 life.
There's a little bit of icing on the cake.
It's kind of like the Huntmaster came into play, put a wolf into play, gained him 2 life, and the wolf's going to lose him 2 life. So it's like he paid 4 for a 2/2. Like, you know what I mean? It's
Oh no Massacre Worm.
not yet anyway.
Just an Acidic Slime.
So acidic slime, what is he gotta take out?
Probably a
land?
Rootbound Crag. One would expect. Man, all this attacking from Peter is blowing my mind. He keeps attacking, and I'm like, then he has to have this, but he doesn't. And I'm like, wow!
Is that Inkmoth Nexus in play? I guess it is, yeah.
Okay, so Luke still has Galvanic Blast in his deck, which looks surprisingly good right now.
Thank you for moving the stuff into play, Peter.
Yeah, now Luke's probably just going to Gal Blast the slime, get in for 6. He's got to start the bleeding somehow.
Yeah, I like that plan. Just,
you know, you really need to, like, even though his hand may not be that aggressive, we don't know, but Luke has to get Peter into that range of, like, around, like, 11-ish life. Otherwise, like, his whole sideboard plan of bringing those Zealous Conscripts and just KOing his opponent doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, he needs that. Absolutely needs his opponent to be at a low enough life total so that the Zealous Conscripts actually kills them when he draws it in the late game. Another green Sensina for 4. This is probably going to grab another Huntmaster of the Fells.
Wow. Peter could be
literally the juiciest Massacre Worm of all time. This is like this is really close to a lethal Massacre Worm. All right. Massacre Worm. I know Peter's down a game right now, and this is only round 6. But Peter is my favorite to win the tournament right now. No, his deck list is just so well positioned right now.
He's gonna need something to get this moving, really. I mean, Luke. I don't think those life totals, are they correct? I guess it could be correct.
They are correct, yeah.
2. Yeah,
he's gained 2 twice from the Huntmaster.
Life total wise, this game hasn't even begun.
Oh, what does that cast?
Uh-oh.
That combination of mana.
Yeah, it's almost funny because you're like, I don't even want to attack because he could just block and save himself damage from Massacre Worm, so... Sweep the board then.
All right, so
swing.
Peter Riggs does not cast a Massacre Worm right now. Then he's proved himself to be the worst liar ever. Because the entire game, he just counted 2 per creature that Luke had out. Just went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
What, you got a line into the table? You can hear what they're saying? Because I can't.
No, because you saw him tap on each one
I know,
twice. Yeah, it's like... If he does cast a Massacre Worm, this is like the most brutal slow roll.
Right, because it's what I mean. That's going to be 10, right? Because he's just got 10 guys. I mean, 5 guys, right? 5 guys. You had
5 guys.
You had 5 guys earlier.
Yeah.
Luke has 5 guys now.
Delicious.
Right. So he's going to lose 10. He's going to draw a card. And then he's
maybe
gonna
that's
lose
what
another
Peter's
4.
afraid to do. He's afraid to let Luke draw the card from the Massacre Worm.
So he would put Luke to 4.
He definitely just has like 2 lands in his hand right now. He's running the bluffs. And if he has 2 lands in his hand right now, he's just dead. Those Huntmasters are going to murder him. Yes, Ravager of the Fells. He flips over, he kills both of your creatures. Well, when there are 2 of him, he does. He deals you 4 damage. And then your opponent will attack you for 14.
Can we get a
and
look
you'll be
at
at
Peter's
2,
hand?
and then you'll be dead to the Galvanic Blast. If Peter doesn't have a spell right here, he just dies.
He just passed the turn.
He just passed the turn?
He did.
He's dead. If Luke can find it.
Well, first, the Huntmasters have to flip. I mean, I guess you don't have to remind him if he is, you know, the new IPG thing, right? Do they have to flip? That's the new IPG thing is kind of confusing to me. Where it used to be like they had to flip, right? They had to, whether or not you wanted them to. Then I thought the recent rule changes made it so that you didn't have to, like if a turn passed, they can't, I'm not turn or whatever, a certain amount of time passed. He played Cavern of Souls, and then just went, oh wait a minute, my guys flipped. So I just don't know. That's confusing to me. I guess I'm looking at this and going, Jim Davis last week didn't get a goblin.
Yeah.
Because
and that's really, really
situation.
lethal.
And anyway, so.
Oh man, why you put the Wolfear Silverheart on the guy who's already huge? Come on, man.
So Wolfear Silverheart comes down.
All right. Makes a soul bond with its wolf friend. Yes, that is more than your life total. Peter currently at 16 because of the triggers, and Luke is attacking for 6, 8, 10.
Why was he at 16? Because didn't the Huntmasters kill the creatures?
Yeah, but they deal the opponent too also.
Oh, that's
in
right.
addition
That's
to
right,
the creatures,
right,
yeah.
Counting it.
They have like the Searing Blaze effect kind of thing.
Yeah, that was.
So Luke Maas able to take that one down, and I will retract my